Hello ladies and gentlemen and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to the channel. As always, I am your host, Brett Murphy, and for today's video it is going to be yet another ranking. And I am going to be ranking all 10 Fast and Furious movies. Okay, so, well, the Fast and the Furious franchise. What started off as a simple Point Break ripoff with cars has quite literally exploded into one of the biggest globally known franchises and a major box office juggernaut. Whether you love them or you hate them, there's no denying the facts. And with F9, Fast 9, Fast and Furious 9, whatever you call it, finally dropping in theaters, it seems about time to update my ranking. Before I get into the actual ranking, I just wanted to let you know that I have an entire playlist dedicated to all of my ranking videos. So be sure to check that out, and I guarantee you'll find something you like. And so with all of that being said, let's hop right into things. Number 10, F9, The Fast Saga. Okay, so I just wanted to start off by stating that I am a lifelong fan of this franchise. I mean, I've been watching these movies since I was like 5 or 6 years old, and I really did try to give this movie the benefit of the doubt. I also waited an entire day before even making this video because I really wanted to sort of process what I had just seen. And sadly, I do believe this newest entry is the worst in the franchise. They have finally taken it way too far this time. I mean, I know there are plenty of scenes throughout all of these movies where you're going, really? Seriously? Come on, there's no way. But normally it's for those big bombastic moments. But the difference this time around is that the whole entire movie is that. And it will get old very fast, so you will know very early whether you are accepting and investing into this movie or just completely checking out. It's really gone into the realm of a full-blown parody of itself. And for some reason they try to take this whole self-aware approach, where Roman, played by Tyrese Gibson, has a running theory that he expresses to the other characters that they are in fact invincible and superhuman. I'm really not entirely sure if that was just supposed to be funny and like a running gag, or if they are really genuinely trying to make it a parody, or if it's supposed to be like a little subtle wink wink nudge nudge to the audience. But in my eyes, by them recognizing all of this chaos, absurdity, and stupidity, it really only made things worse. Really, in this movie, the only main good thing is the cast. By now, after 2 decades for some of them, their chemistry is phenomenal. The playful little jokes work, and the reactions and emotions feel genuine. And I guess when it comes to the technicalities, it's also pretty great. I mean, the movie looks fantastic, it's very well shot, and the sound design is also excellent. Justin Lin is a very capable director, and I was pretty excited when I heard that he would be returning to the franchise. But sadly, this wasn't it. I mean, seriously, they finally gone and done it, and they just took things too far. And it really does make me fearful for where the franchise is going to go next. Number 9, The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. It's a spin-off that hardly carries any weight anymore. It was revealed to be a secret sequel at the end of Fast and Furious 6, but now it all feels completely pointless. I mean, the big thing that this movie had going for it was Han's death, and Han is back alive now, so that renders that completely meaningless. And we hardly ever see the main character, Sean, ever again, aside from popping into a few scenes here and there to say hello. Regardless, the races are still fun, and the Tokyo setting is a breath of fresh air. And it's loaded with early 2000s cheese that'll make you chuckle. Number 8, Too Fast, Too Furious. This movie was desperately missing the original cast. The only returning character is Paul Walker's Brian, and they try to replace the rest of the cast with Tyrese Gibson as Roman. But at the very least, the chemistry between these two is great. The story is fine, I guess. It brings Brian back into the fold quite naturally, but Eva Mendes is there solely to be easy on the eyes, and the villain is completely lackluster and quite forgettable. Number 7, Fast and Furious. Aside from its exhilarating opening and thrilling final act, this one offers up very little new or memorable for the franchise. Aside from a fresh coat of paint and some polish, director Justin Lin getting a hold of the original cast for the very first time actually worked really well, and we get all of them back together for the first time in nearly a decade. And thankfully it's done in a nice and coherent kind of way. But it's the overall story that is lacking and underwhelming here. It's really honestly just sort of kind of boring, which is definitely something you don't associate the Fast and Furious franchise with. Not to mention, this movie's big thing was Letty's death. And that now too is rendered completely redundant because it is revealed at the end of the very next movie that she is still alive. Number 6, Hobbs and Shaw. Over the top, utterly ridiculous, and completely insane is probably the best way to describe this movie. The chemistry between Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham is undeniable. They're both hilarious, charming, and kick all sorts of ass. Idris Elba plays a convincing villain and is clearly having the time of his life in this wild role. The main problem with this movie is that it goes way too far into the realm of impossibility way too frequently. Even more so than any of the other Fast and Furious movies at the time of its release. I mean, they're basically superheroes. Actually, I'm pretty sure Idris Elba is a superhero in this movie. He calls himself the Black Superman and he's not far off. Number 5. The Fate of the Furious. I honestly find this one and Hobbs and Shaw to be pretty interchangeable. Although Hobbs and Shaw takes the more fun, over-the-top, and ridiculous approach, this one tries to take the more serious and dramatic, over-the-top, and utterly ridiculous approach. Because this one's story tries to take itself a bit too seriously, which I really did find was the movie's biggest weak spot. Aside from that, it's the usual mindless, senseless, completely unbelievable, but inexplicably entertaining fun. If you're willing to accept what this franchise has become, you can pretty easily turn off your brain and have a blast. It's just too bad that certain sections of this movie kind of forgot how to do that itself. Number 4. The Fast and the Furious. What can I say? You can't beat a classic. And it seems with every passing year, this one makes its way higher and higher up my list. I'm really not sure if it's just the nostalgia talking, or if it's these newer movies getting more and more ridiculous that is making me appreciate the simpler times and humble beginnings. I mean, these people just started off as simple street racers and criminals. So, is it just a Point Break ripoff with cars? Absolutely, 110%. But at this point, I've actually preferred to go back and watch this one over the others mentioned before it for its simplicity, and its early 2000s cheese and charm. Number 3. Fast and Furious 6. Ah yes, back when these movies still knew how to be over the top and wild, but moderately set within reality. That is, of course, aside from the 100-mile long runway at the end of the movie. This is the first movie where they went from street racers and thieves to full-blown international super spies, as they are recruited by former foe, Luke Hobbs, to track down a team of international mercenaries. Oh yeah, and Letty is alive too. Luke Evans plays a great villain. The stunts go bigger, the stakes are higher, the jokes land, the chemistry is undeniable, the movie overall just works so well. Number 2. Furious 7. Oh no. Here come the feels. This one by far hits the hardest in the franchise. But as for the movie itself, I find this one to be so mindlessly and spectacularly entertaining. Fast and Furious 6 is where they became international super spies, but Furious 7 is where they became invincible superhumans. However, they still do manage to make portions of the movie feel moderately set within reality, despite the non-stop chaos, unpredictability, and complete and utter disregard for any sort of physics. Jason Statham plays an awesome villain, and he's seeking revenge for, you guessed it, his family. And the rest of the cast, once again, just blends so well together. In all honesty though, this is where the franchise should have ended. It was the most perfect and beautiful send-off for both Paul Walker after his tragic passing and his character. There was truly no need for this franchise to go on beyond this point. And number 1, Fast 5. This movie undeniably saved this franchise. It was the breath of fresh air that it needed to stay afloat and shift it into the next gear. It retained much of what the fans liked about the first few. Great relatable characters, big parties, an awesome soundtrack, guns, and of course, fast cars. Only this time around, they have brought the whole crew together for an Avengers-like ensemble, and turned it into a big heist movie set in Brazil. Oh, and they added Dwayne Johnson, who many consider the savior of this franchise. This movie delivers on the action, it delivers on the stakes, it delivers on the laughs, and it delivers on the heart. With one of the most exciting and bombastic finales in recent memory. Clearly the best in the franchise in my eyes by a fair margin. So that is all for today's video, folks. Be sure to let me know down in the comments if you agree or disagree with my ranking. And feel free to let me know what ranking you would like to see next. If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And if you'd like to see more content, consider subscribing to my channel and ringing that little bell icon. That way you can be notified about all of my latest uploads. And as always, stay safe. Thank you so much for watching, and that's a wrap. Hey you, yeah you, if you made it this far, just know I appreciate you, and while you're here, consider hitting that subscribe button.